Good Sunday evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to wash my mouth. It's not going to happen in this video, but that's all right. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Best. Y'all say what's up to her.
Hi, beautiful people. Like the video, subscribe.
Yes, subscribe to both channels. Any reviews or recaps I don't do on my channel, Mrs. Best does on her channel. We have Love and Marriage. Love and Marriage. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and also Miami on her channel currently going, and also Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We also have that on her channel. So y'all don't want to miss those recaps and reviews because we go in where it goes in. So subscribe so you can see those happening. Dr. Jim Bunny is here. We are so happy to see you, my love. Happy Sunday. A bit say winning is here as well. Hey, my love, thank you for joining us. We love this picture of you, so we thank you for gracing both of you with your beautiful faces. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, y'all, this is Love and Marriage Huntsville. I forgot to put the title of the episode because it was actually crazy. It don't make no sense. Now, the name of this episode is funny and also kind of like telltale eye-opening. It doesn't make sense. Okay, I'll tell y'all what part of the episode I think that applies to when we get there. But the show opens up with Melody and Kimmy. Kimmy stops by Melody's house, for them to catch up. Melody said that she hasn't invited Kimmy to her house in a minute, so she figures she'd go ahead and they, catch up and gossip, not about her husband, but just, just in the general sense. So, Kimmy lets her know that the party that the Mimosas Melodies party was very nice and everything, and she also said that in essence, it seems like the group goes to certain events where you have one group that's over here, one group that's over there. It's very weird and it's divided. And I think the common denominator that she was trying to say without saying it is that it's Martell or Melody that is missing from either or events, because it's not the group. It's usually one or the other that is not an event space for another. So that's fine. And I'm like, Kimmy, come on now. Like, just say you're trying to be messy this episode. You're trying to make sure you come back next season, which I'm sure you will. But this was a good one. She also mentions that she doesn't know if Melody was aware that Chris Fletcher actually was the plug for Trish and Martell to, hook up or do whatever. And Melody said, "Oh, really? That's news to me. No, I did not know that and everything." And Kimmy was like, "You and Trish are good, right?" And she goes, "No, me and Trish, are not good and everything." And, to be honest, Kimmy, I don't like her. I don't like her, and for good reason. She was over there messing around with my then husband, going to my house that I purchased. No, I don't like her. Now, a lot of people, I was reading comments online, a lot of people were putting in like narratives that Melody still cares, Melody is this, Melody is that. And it's like, whatever. I wouldn't want my exes jump off to be in my face either. That's how I feel personally about it. Like, I would want, especially if I was married at the time to that individual and you was up in my house, he had you up in my house and stuff. No, I don't need to see you. That's weird. But y'all gonna do what y'all want to do just to put something on Melody. So it is what it is. Mrs. Best, how do you feel about that?
Um, I don't really want to be in the same space as nobody who has slept with an ex, let alone an ex-husband. I think what people forget when they're commenting on things is like nobody really gets married to get divorced. And in Melody's situation specifically, if that man didn't cheat, she probably very well would have stayed married to him, even with all the other flaws. So,
Hmm.
she still has a right to feel away. My thing about it is she's an executive producer on this show. So in my mind, I'm like, she may have played a part or at least knew ahead of time who Trish was and that she was coming. So it's very strange that now she's acting somewhat bothered, but I don't know. I think what Melody's more mad at is the lie. It's Trish withholding information, and then when she's confronted on it, she lies, tells you parts of the story. So I feel like If Trish was just upfront, it'd be a bigger thing. But I don't know. I wish Melody would have said that instead of Karen, who Martell sleeps with, because he sleeps with everything.
Right. And I agree with that too. Like I agree. I feel like yeah, I feel like you shouldn't care this hard, but at the same time, I get it. Because if me and you were on a show, none of my exes, somebody that they knew I know that they slept with, it was all up in our faces, and then I didn't find out about it up until someone else in our group leaked it. It's like I could see how Melody would be caught off guard by that and not really have time to process. Because it's one thing if Trish would have met her on camera or maybe even off camera before they even start filming, like, hey, look, I don't know how you gonna feel about this, but I want to make sure that you ain't catching no surprises when this comes up on camera. But me and your ex had a little, side such as, such and such, whatever that situation was going on. I was up in your house and everything, and he may not have told you, but I need to clear my conscience because I ain't trying to blindside you in no way. But when it comes to the cameras, you can act surprised and all that. I don't really care, but I just want to let you know you heard it from me first. Maybe if Trish would have took that approach, maybe I would have felt better about that situation. But yeah, it was crazy. But that was pretty much our conversation. Is there anything else you want to add before we move on?
No, I agree with all that you said.
Yes. Okay. So let's go ahead and move it along here. So the next thing we see is that Letitia and Destiny meet up. Hold on. What are you saying to Miss Minute? I think definitely for sure Melody knew who this lady was, and at least some of what she did. You know what's
Thank
funny?
you. I feel like she has to know because she participates in the show.
I don't think she knew. I don't. Because, and let me tell you why I don't think she knew. I don't think she knew because of how much or how long it took for this situation to come out that there was even more to this story than what it is because Trisha is she gets breadcrumbs of what the situation was, and we still don't even know if it was working out or training because there's so many holes in her story of when she actually became a trainer or because in 2020 when she said that's when she got involved with the gym. So are you saying that like when you got involved to the gym, you started training on. It just doesn't make sense. I need better timeline from her is what I'm getting at. So I don't think she knew. I really don't. Hi DM Rocks. I cannot believe Destiny ambushed you. Yeah, I was just gonna talk about that. And so we're gonna go ahead and get there. So Destiny and Tisha meet up for lunch and they, are catching up and talking and they get their food and Tisha took literally one bite for Martell to walk up in there, sit at their table, and she said, "Oh no, not today, Satan. I'm getting up because my husband is not here. Goodbye." And she laughs and walks off. And I was like, I have never seen that in reality TV history in my life, where someone literally took a bite of their food and just said, "Oh no, not today, Mrs. Best." But you have finished your food, or would you got up too?
I would have left. The difference between me and Tisha is I would have gotten a to-go box. I'm not gonna lie. I saw that it was a biscuit place. It looked like she ordered up well. She could have had a good food a plate. I would have got me a to-go plate, but either way, I would have left. I totally agree with that. I think when you're married, regardless of what's going on in her and Marceau's marriage, what's going on in your marriage should be between you and your spouse. But when it comes to dealing with other people, especially people you have a problem with, you should be a united front with your spouse. However, comma, Tisha, you walk away because you don't want to talk to him without your husband present, but then you could talk about him on the internet without your husband present. So I'm just kind of like, she's a little wishy-washy, but I think that was the right thing to do. Why argue with him? It's not going to go anywhere. He's a grown-ass man, so walk away. And Destiny messy. I would have walked away just to make her feel uncomfortable and make her broke scheming ass pay for my plate. Because who the hell are you to try and ambush me with somebody who just disrespected me at your last of it? Now I finally go out to eat with you and you want to do this? So absolutely not.
Oh, I agree. Tisha didn't have the best energy for Destiny that I wanted her to. Because if this were male, we wouldn't hear the end of it. So it's like the fact that she let Destiny get off scot free with that. Yeah, I'm not checking for Destiny. I never really was to begin with. But I kind of felt like Tisha, that's kind of messed up that you go let Destiny just kind of skate under the radar and really not get mad or address her, because I would have thought you would have addressed her at some point in this episode, but she didn't, y'all. She didn't even get mad about it. So I was all like, the double standard, the double standard, the double standard. So moving on from there, she goes and sees Marceau at one of their home construction sites, and she lets him know that, in the midst of her having lunch with Destiny, Martell shows up. And she said, I didn't say anything to him. I didn't, she goes, I didn't finish my food. I literally just got up, walked out, and I came straight here. And Marceau says, I thank you for doing that, because based on how Martell acts, he's unhinged. You don't know what's about to happen. He lets his emotions kind of take all over the place, and I can't put you in that predicament. So I'm glad that the moment that you saw him, you got up and left. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because at first I thought Marceau was kind of doing like a little too much with saying like he's unhinged. But when you really think about what Martell be doing, he has a point. He does. He has a point. And the point is that most likely in any given circumstance, Tisha needs to be careful, because his vengefulness could, is definitely aimed at Marceau, but it could take a dagger and point at somebody else. So I was happy that in the instance he had a point to always make sure he protects her. So that was pretty much it. Mrs. Best, is there anything you want to add to that scene?
No, not at all.
She's like, nah, I ain't trying to hear that. I ain't trying to go there. Yeah, because it's just, child, it's a mess. But anyways, we move on to a scene with Destiny. Her and Lance are at her. Someone got mad at me, y'all. Before I tell this, somebody got mad because I called Destiny's business studio a storage unit. Someone really got mad at me and said that content creator spaces, can be whatever, and they have these in all kind of cities and stuff. So y'all are just being evil, and she unsubscribed from me. So bless her heart, whoever she is, if she still watches, ma'am, I'm not gonna block you because you're entitled to your opinion. But it is a storage unit. That's what it looks like, and that's what I'm going to call it.
Oh, did someone get mad? I'm going to hell. Someone got mad at our comments on the storage unit. They
Yeah.
acknowledged that it was a storage unit a bunch of times, and even Kimmy, someone on the show, mentioned to Destiny in
Hmm.
this scene. Oh, they let you do that in this unit? Because generally, storage units are used for storage, not being passed off as a company that we know she's using the same vendors that she by Sheree and all the other stars are using. But I'm sorry that someone was upset and felt we were evil.
Yeah, they felt we were evil. Felt like it wasn't funny. At least she's trying, which I never took away from Destiny. I'm glad that she. We all have to start from somewhere. I'm in my bedroom. I'm
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
bedroom, so it's like I'm not, like shunning Destiny. But what I'm saying is that I felt like for the business, like here's the thing, for the business acumen of what she is doing, that's not the space that I felt was appropriate for the business venture, because she is making candles, body fragrances, and things like that. There is no plumbing in that room. I didn't see any outlets where she could plug in a crock pot to melt the wax and stuff. That's what I was saying. And I'm gonna be honest with you. The perimeter of the building and the inside of what the camera shows. Hey Kevin, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Um, Basically felt like it was a storage unit. Like that's all I'm saying. Like I'm
Well,
not.
it was conformed. It was confirmed that it was a storage unit. I don't see nothing wrong with it if that's where someone does their business. My thing is, don't try to sell yourself as something more than you are. Just admit that you have started this company, you found a little vendor that you could pay to put your face on mugs and merch, and leave it there. Don't try to sell it off as if this is an actual business space. Yes, some storage units are being changed into retail spaces, but this was an actual storage unit. I saw other units across from her. Looked like she had a 9x9 or something like that, a little small unit that they offer. There were locked ones across the way. It was a storage unit. It's cool. But I think with Destiny, for me, most of the shade comes from the fact that, like, this lady constantly arrested and in some trouble for fraud and all types of other stuff. So I just don't care for her, if I'm keeping it honest.
I know. And so we had her. So we're there. She has Lance there, which is Nail's son, which I guess they're going to try to conform to make this look like this is some sort of relationship. I don't buy it. I know that Lance is not her type. I know that Lance ain't even remotely close to what Destiny would date, and that's too close to comfort considering Nail. So I just feel like I guess they're trying to make fetch happen. I don't believe it. Sorry. He ain't the team. I don't think he's Destiny's type at all. Destiny like men like Moses. That's what Destiny like. Unless Lance, I mean, well, maybe I need to take that back because he has been. Well, that's neither here nor there. But she's talking about hanging up some wallpaper and everything just to jazz up the workspace a little bit. Kimmy stops by and she talks to her about the fragrances. She picks up a couple. She goes, "Are these the same one I had?" Because she didn't even know the name of the one that Destiny gave her. But she's saying that she gets a lot of compliments from them. And I told Mrs. Best in text, I was like, I might actually buy one of her fragrances just to see, because I did buy Seventh Avenue Beauty from Melody. So I'm going to support Destiny too and buy one of the body mist, the Big D Energy Body Mist, to see what it smells like. I'm just curious. I'm sure it smells good. Tisha walked in, and this is where I tell you, Tisha pissed me off because she said in her confessional that, even though her and Destiny lunch didn't go well because Martell decided to crash it, she said she's not really harboring any feelings against Destiny because it is what it is. And I'm just like, oh, Tisha, you so full of shit. But she doesn't think Martell's going to show up to the storage unit today to help them. So, she feels like she's in the clear. And I feel like, once again, if this were Melody, this would be a whole different conversation. This would be a whole different issue. But the fact that Destiny can ambush you with the person that gave you hell at her last event, wow, Tisha. I'll teach you, because I would have been mad at Destiny. Like, what I went through. And you could at least gave me the heads up to say, hey, I know we're supposed to be at lunch, but I did ask Martell to stop by because I feel he needs to owe you an apology. Are you okay with that? Is there something I need to do to make you more comfortable? Destiny just kind of just said, hey, just show up and she'll just have to deal with it. That's kind of how I felt. So I feel like she let Destiny off way too quick. So she's explained to them the business, and that's when Mrs. Best said that, Kim said, well, can you do all of that in this unit? And Destiny said, yeah, if you go downstairs, you'll see all the other businesses, what they look like. This is what they look like before, and now there's the after. And they were just nodding their heads. And Lance leaves, and they talk about, oh, you could at least did it up in here. Y'all got chairs and stuff. I'm looking at them like, I guess we're going to make Lance and Destiny happen, huh? So they go outside and they talk, and Destiny mentions that, she's going to be planning Miss Nail's bachelorette party. And they're looking like a bachelorette party. She already married and been married for a long time. But Destiny said, well, Miss Nail's never had an actual wedding, never had a bachelorette party, and none of that. So she's going to, go ahead and throw her one. And Kimmy was like, well, are you inviting everybody? And she said, yeah, all the people that Miss Nail wants to be there, absolutely. She goes, well, speaking of which, I know she wanted Sunny to come because Sunny was at the Mimosas with Melody party. And she was like, everyone was like, oh, and Dustin was like, Sunny's not coming. And everyone was like, and even Tisha was like, well, you can't just not invite her because you don't want her to be there. Like, if her and Nail build some kind of rapport, I mean, she should be there. She goes, oh, no, I want everybody that Miss Nell wants to be on the list, regardless of how I feel. But I don't want her. I don't want to see her. I have nothing to say to her, and I get it. I do. I get it. But they didn't talk about the Mimosas Melodies event, and Destiny said she didn't get an invite. Tisha, of course, didn't show up, and Kimmy lets out the bag that Moses is actually got incarcerated because initially he broke probation. So Destiny said, I hate that I didn't get to see him under them circumstances, but I want them to stay in St. Louis. And I just said, oof, this was a mouthful. Mrs. Best, how do you feel about this scene?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Repeat that. This app. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was asking you, how did you feel about the Destiny scene where they were talking about, Sonny and Moses and Sonny coming to the bachelorette party for Miss Nail and all of that?
I didn't really care too much. Get over it, Destiny. Please. I don't really care too much. It's a bachelorette party. This lady's already married. It's like you're gonna have to see people you don't want to see sometimes, especially if you're on the same cast. I want to know if Sunny is pregnant though, because at the last scene she looked lovely. That's what I will say.
Yeah, she did look very lovely. I think that it suited her well. Um, Let me ask you another question in regards to Tisha and Destiny. Do you feel that Tisha should have been mad at Destiny for blindsiding her with Martell showing up to the lunch?
Yes. Don't blindside me with somebody who you know disrespected me, who you know I got a problem with, and who you know my husband got a problem with. Don't do that. That's disrespectful. And if the tables were, turned, reversed, however the hell the saying is, Destiny knows she would feel away too. Nobody wants to be ambushed with a person that they don't have beef with, especially, or that they do have beef with, especially a person who's always looking to go off, cause extra problems, start some shit. Like it was not okay. Has nothing to do with being friends. It just kind of shows she like drama to me.
Hmm. Absolutely, I 100% agree. Do you think Sunny should come to Nell's bachelorette party?
Um, if Sunny has a actual relationship with Nell where like they chat here and there, like outside of the show, yes. But if not, then her being at the party, especially if she's not gonna be like a part of the show, I don't really see the point. I feel like the girl should be able to do what the hell she want to do.
I agree.
If
I agree
Nell
with
wants her there, she should go. Because why
right.
are you going to act a fool at somebody's event?
Well, first off, I don't know why Nell would appoint Destiny of all people to throw her bachelorette party. I don't feel like Destiny realistically knows the mark of anything. Like I would want Melody or someone else to throw the bachelor, because then I would feel like it would be done in my taste because this has been my friends. Her and Destiny, what they've only known each other. We only seen them really interact this season since Destiny's been back. I've never seen Miss Nail and Destiny in any circumstance, even when Nail was a friend of the show and they were doing all of those scenes, in prior seasons. I've never seen them have a rapport. So it is weird that she would ask Destiny to throw her bachelor party. I thought that was weird. But, it is what it is. We'll go ahead and move on from this scene. The next thing we have is Melody meets up with Chris Fletcher at a popcorn place. Melody loves her some popcorn. And she sat down with him and just immediately confronts him about, the talk of at Martell's open house of him hooking up Trish and Martell when him and Melody were still married. And Chris Fletcher said he immediately denies. He said, I did not hook them up. Martell called him when he was at the gym and he asked were there any pretty girls there, and he said yeah, he knows of one, and he said he didn't know her first name but knew her last name because they were related. So, and he had just found that out, so he gave him the last name, and Martell did some research and he found her on Facebook and asked if this was her, and he said yeah, and that's all that happened. Now I'm looking at Chris Fletcher like this, that does not make sense. That does not make sense. Now, granted, I'm gonna give you like this. She shit. I can't. I that totally. It did look good, and I don't even like popcorn like that. But whoever this business is, y'all, and whoever y'all in Huntsville, support these people. Make sure they stay open for business because I think that is a brilliant idea. I think that is a brilliant idea, and I want them to go mainstream and have a distribution center and ship out that popcorn worldwide. I do. I hope that all of the success for them, especially that lady that was so nice and welcomed Melody in. That was I loved her from the moment I saw her. But but like I was saying, the Chris Fletcher story does not make sense. Mrs. Best, does his story make sense to you?
Hell to the no, the story don't make sense. I feel like Chris Fletcher, I've been saying he's super smooth, but his wife is kind of messy and annoying. And I feel like he's the same way, just in a quieter way. I don't think he's somebody that could be trusted. Personally, I think he cheating on Nell left and right, up, down, and every which way. But that's my personal opinion. But it doesn't sound right. I feel like Chris Fletcher is just trying to save his um little image that he has for himself in his own mind.
Absolutely, because even Mel was like, because he said, I don't have time to, be doing all that. And Mel said, well, you definitely did have some time because you have cheated as well. And, birds of a feather flock together. That's just how this is. And Melody said it, and, hearing that brought her back to a conversation that Melody had with him. And Martell had told her, you need to talk to the old school ladies and how to, respectfully, handle these kind of situations. And Melody said, you need to talk to the old school men about this. And he goes, I did. They said that I need to have women sign NDAs and stuff like that. And she said, okay. And so she asked Chris Fletcher, did he get that from you? And he said, no, that ain't nothing like me. That might be Maurice or Marcel. Just throwing them two under the bus. And I'm just like, well, damn. Y'all men don't care out there at all. All he had to say was no, it wasn't me. I don't know who he got that from. But I'm just like
The
Chris
fact
Fletcher.
that he was so quick to try and blame it on the Scott brothers,
Mm,
especially when that's who Martell is alleging is the one who's doing all of this cheating. When your first initial instinct is to blame somebody else, that tells me that you yourself did that. I actually believe that Martell probably did get that from him. And I genuinely do believe that that is some type of advice that Chris Fletcher would give. I see him for him. I see him. He ain't slick.
I'm starting to think that too. I kind of felt like because it's just the dialogue is weird when one that situation came from you and how many holes are in it. And Trish even said it was you that linked them. So if you just had this conversation with Martell, how would she know that too? That's what I wanted because y'all Trish put this out originally in the earlier part of the season. If y'all go back to the early part of the season when we were first introduced to her and when this whole Martell thing came up, she originally said it was Chris Fletcher who did this. So now coming forward, if he wasn't the plug and he only told Martell, how would Trish know? That's why I said I don't believe that story. I just don't. And it could be, y'all could say, well, Martell could have said that he heard from her from Chris Fletcher. Very much so. But at the end of the day, it still does not help his story in the link up. Because either way, if Martell says it or if Trish knew about it, it's still the same thing. It leads to Chris Fletcher. So he can deny and say that he just told him there was this one lady up there. It doesn't matter. You still provided him the information he needed. Lo and behold, he did know her from somewhere else, but still. I don't know. It's just weird. But that was pretty much it. He tells her Melody the story. Melody kind of, says, okay, it is what it is. And, I just wanted to make sure. And that was pretty much it. Is there anything else you want to add before I move on?
No, Chris
Oh,
Fletcher might be a hoe on the low, but no.
it's something. Something ain't awry with Chris Fletcher, y'all. I'm telling y'all that now. I'm looking at Chris Fletcher sideways. Nell, you might want to pay attention more. The next thing we see is Destiny. We have a lot of Destiny this episode, which is kind of surprising because Destiny in her earlier seasons didn't give nothing, didn't share nothing. So we're getting a lot of Destiny now. So for those people who complained about this, here you go. You got it. We got all of Destiny this episode. But Destiny jumps in the Jeep Liberty to go take her daddy fishing. And once they get there, we learned a little bit more about Destiny's upbringing. I don't know if Destiny ever went through her upbringing in the earlier seasons. I don't really remember. But from what we understand of the conversation, that her mother was an addict, unfortunately, and Destiny was in foster care, and her father had to fight tooth and nail to get her full custody of her. He eventually did get full custody and moved her out of Detroit, where they're currently at now in Huntsville. And Destiny said it was a rough road with her and her father at the beginning, but they were able to get on track, and he's pretty much been a great father to her and her son as well, grandfather to her son. And I commend him because you could tell, like, every time he tells the story, it breaks him because, he said in the story that he didn't have full access. He couldn't take her to get her something to eat because, the child welfare people probably thought he was going to abduct her from that moment, even though it's his daughter, which is crazy to me. But, my heart goes out to Destiny because it kind of does explain some of the things about her when we really look at her as a person, this does explain that she does harbor some resentment. I don't know if it's towards the mother or if it's towards that part of her life where she remembers it, but you could definitely tell there's something awry there. So, Mrs. Best, how did you feel with that scene with Destiny and her father?
It actually warmed my heart just because I'm a daddy's girl, so I get it. My dad, when my parents split, was locked up but fought for us in court from jail. I was like, wow. But I think it's a great thing to have your dad in your life. It's a wonderful thing. But I definitely feel like hearing and seeing the scene kind of explains Destiny a little bit more, why she is the way she is, why she makes choices that are not good and seem somewhat impulsive for someone in her situation. But I respect her dad a lot. I also respect the network for showing this because there's so many black dads that are known just for being the one to leave. So it's nice for them to highlight one that does stay. I also felt like it humanized Destiny a little bit because she's always doing some messy shit. Always doing something messy, involved in some mess. You seen the little montage they play of all the beef that's happened at her events. So it was nice to see a softer side to her. But yeah, I definitely think she needs some therapy because of her mama.
Yeah, because there's something you could tell there's still something there that she's still trying to fight out. But it was a really beautiful scene. Big ups to her father. I commend him, black man to black man. That is a beautiful thing. Fight for your children. He didn't care how much it cost. He didn't care how much time it was going to take from him. He wanted his baby, and that's how men should fight for their children. And I don't know what happened in today's time, but you know what? Big ups to that man for showing us that that's what you do under those circumstances. But the next thing we talk about is, Destiny's big launch party for Madani. She also lets us know in the previous scene with her father that Madani's actually abbreviation of her grandmother or great grandmother Maddie and her father Donnie. So that's where we got Madani from, which I thank you for letting us know the inside of that story. So she's there. The event space was very, very nice. I will say that. I don't know where she had it at, but it was a very good building. Her face was everywhere. Everyone shows up with the exception of Melody. Melody was not there. And as everyone's getting there, she gives a wonderful speech, and what you saying, Kevin Rose? Chris was simply gaslighting Melody, yet Melody knew Chris was lying. Yeah, I feel like he's lying too. I feel like that story doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all. So, I think she knows the truth. So we'll pretty much put it at that. And, once after Destiny gives her little speech, everyone breaks off into, their corner. So we have a scene with the ladies first. And, the ladies are coming around and Nell is really excited about her bachelorette party. She lets everyone know that Destiny will be planning it. And that's where, it comes up that there may be an invite extension to Sunny. And Destiny is not feeling that. Destiny feels like, that her and Nell are better friends and that Sunny should not be there. Nell was like, she hates what Sunny did. Like she hates that of how that came out. But however, she needs to be able to judge Sunny's character based on her own interactions with Sunny and not playing off of how Destiny feels. And I feel like for me, that's fair because Sunny's in this situation currently as a cast member. So it is unfair to completely ostracize her based on Destiny and what may have happened because we still don't know all of the details. So it's kind of like, yeah, I totally get where Destiny is coming from because that is uncomfortable, especially because she's throwing the party. But at the same time, I feel like that is unfair. If Nell wants a fair chance to get to know her and judge her for herself, she should be given that opportunity. Mrs. Best, how do you feel?
I agree with that. It's also like it's not your party. Like it's not yours just because you're participating in the planning. This party is not for you. So why are you flipping out? Secondly, you feel like you have a better friendship with Nell than Destiny does, but you don't know that. You know your friendship with someone. You don't know someone else's friendship and the depth of their relationship with another person. What I think is happening is she's pulling the I was on the show first.
Yep.
I don't want nobody to hang out with them because I don't know why I get the feeling they only brought Destiny back because of this. And so she's going to lean into it. But I think she's just bothered because Now the chick who you thought was your friend, who's now with your ex and is his new wife, is on what you view as your platform, but she made contributions on the platform as well. And oftentimes, the people on the shows make relationships with producers anyway, and that's on any network. So you don't know this lady's relationship. It's not that deep. I'm tired of Sunny being so butthurt over it, and I want her to move on.
I'm confused by what you just said. You said you tired of Sunny being butthurt about it?
The other one, I'm
Destiny.
whatever the hell. I'm tired
I
of the
was like, I
situation.
was processing what you were saying, and I was like,
Well, you
Sunny.
know which one I meant. I'm tired
Yeah,
of
I
the
know. I was
stupid.
like, I had to make sure because I was about to agree with you, but then I was like, wait, Sunny, wait,
No,
no.
Sunny's not doing anything at this point. She just shows up, it seems like, when the cameras call her. It's
I,
Destiny that continues to make a problem, get mad at people for interacting with it. If it was at the beginning of the season, fine. But now it's like, okay, there's been some months of filming. You have to have processed and accepted that she's here.
yeah, and I feel that same way. I feel like Sunny really hasn't done anything. Like she hasn't tried to be messy. She hasn't tried to be like interference, like with Destiny's relationship with the other women. So it's kind of like, yeah, I get that situation is messy. Once again, I get it. But at the same time, I could see if Sunny was trying to like ostracize Destiny and be all like, y'all, I was his wife. Destiny was tripping. She wasn't nothing but a bird. And that's, I could see if it was some of that, then fine. But no, it was none of that. She was very pleasant to everybody. So it was like, come on, Destiny. And so at the end of it, Destiny says that, I don't expect everyone to be as loyal to me as I would be to them. But this does make me question my friendship with you now. And I said, Destiny, if I was Nell in that moment, I would have said, okay, how about we retract you from she actually has been messy. When? You talking about Sunny? When was Sunny messy? And I'm not talking about the trip, the St. Thomas, because that was a tit for
Sunny
tat.
has thrown a lot of shade in
Shade, yes.
confessionals. And I
Yes.
also feel like the situation as a whole is messy just because I do feel like Sunny went against girl code in general. This is a girl that she was cool with, and then you decide to just go and date somebody that she was probably confiding in you about. So Sunny is messy. I'm not saying she innocent at all. Sunny is very so messy. It's just Sunny's not dragging this beef on. It's Destiny that keep wanting to keep it going.
Right, and that's what I'm saying about messiness. I'm not talking about no what she did. We can all say there that was messed up, absolutely. And yes, she was throwing shade with the wife comment. Yes, but it was a tit for tat. At least how I feel about that. It's a tit for tat. But my thing is this: she has not intentionally thrown Destiny under a bus and rolled over it and try to make it seem like it was, you know, this bickerness between them. She was like, "Look, I apologize. It is what it is. And Destiny just kept on harboring over it as if that was her husband. And once again, from what we understand, Destiny was one of many. And I believe that with a man looking like Moses, I believe that. I'm sorry, I do. I don't believe Destiny was the only one. I don't. But when she said, yes, you're trying real hard, James, but yes, I really think she has been messy and she knows it. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not trying real hard. I just see the situation for what it is. I said the situation that she was in is messy, but how she's carrying herself on this show, I don't see that. But here's what it is. But we'll move on, y'all. So let me go back to when Destiny said that I'm gonna question my friendship with Nail. I would have told Destiny, retract yourself from planning my bachelor party. Because at the end of the day, I feel like for me, that's not something you throw in my face because I haven't had the same experience that you had with somebody else. That's kind of messed up in a way, especially because they're not that close of friends for that situation. So, also means that Sunny was one of many. Yeah, well, I mean, she probably was. I never said Sunny wasn't. And that's the thing. I never said Sunny wasn't one of many because she probably was too. She was just the one that won. That's how I look at that. She was the one that won. Now, do I think he's still being faithful to her? Probably not. Probably not. I don't think he's faithful to her at all. And that's allegedly, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't think he's been faithful to Sonny at all. But who knows? And I think she would be fine with. She looked like the type that would be fine with him being that would have like infidelity or situation. She looked like that type. Yeah, that thing with Destiny's father was really sweet. I love. I wish they would have pointed that out because maybe I would have looked at Destiny differently if they would have shown this in the beginning for Destiny. I probably would have looked at her marriage with LeBerg differently. I probably would have looked at probably one of those jail situations differently. I probably would have looked at Destiny a little bit differently. She definitely was. Let's not forget all of them were girlfriends together. What did she win? Well, as I said, she won the title of having a marriage license and can give him conjugal visits. That's what she won. Because not everybody can do that. Anyways, let's move on, y'all. So we get to the men, this old goofy scene here. All the men are sitting around. Maurice points out to Lance. He says, "You and Destiny been spending a lot of time together." And Lance says, "Oh yeah, we just trying to take it slow. We both, got out of marriages. We just trying to fill each other up." And everyone was looking at him like, "You were married?" And he said he had been married twice. Both of his marriage lasted for 2 years. And Ken takes this moment to say, "See, that's what I'm talking about. See, everyone's getting on me and Trish, about our situations with marriages and not being out their situations fully and being moved on and everything." And I'm looking at Ken like, did you not hear this man said he was married twice and the situation was they're divorced? Destiny is divorced. Your girlfriend is still married. Even to this current day today, is still married. That is not the same thing, Ken. I don't know where you getting this from. I don't know what you think you're trying to prove in this moment. So they then asked, like, what is the problem here? And because Ken said, even with the Martell situation, everyone was trying to make a big spectacle about that, but it happened before me. And from what I'm saying in this situation here is kids like, "Oh, I know, but if I knew there was more to the situation, or if I knew she was lying, I'd be done. Like the only thing that affects me is my relationship with the kids, because that would hurt me. But if it was coming to Trish and she was lying to me constantly about this, I'd be done." And I'm looking at him like, I don't believe you, Ken. And none of those men believed you either. Because if that were the situation, there has been lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, and you're still here with her. So nobody believes you. And someone made a good point. I think it was Maurice. "Do you love her?" And he goes, "I love her to death." And he goes, "Bing, you care if she breaks your heart. You do care. Because if you truly love someone and they deceive you, that's going to hurt." So Ken, get out of here with that. I think what Ken is trying to do is he's trying to rationalize the potential of her character, of saying, "Well, this happened before me," or "This happened in a situation where," he's trying to make an excuse for what she did. But regardless, Ken, she's married. The man that she allegedly slept with at the time was still married. Everybody's still married. I don't understand what you're not getting. So yeah, I haven't watched this episode a few, and I can't stand it either because it's too much. It's too much. It is way too much, and I hope this is the last season. But Mr. Spence, how did you feel that Ken acted in that scene?
Them roids must be messing with his head and his little friend, because something is not right. The lights are on, but nobody is home. This is what Marquez meant. It just proves his point when he was like, "You don't understand what it's like to be in my position. You don't have a wife. You've never had a wife." But as quiet as it's kept, it should not, having never being married should not impact his ability to have common sense when it comes to this situation. If she wanted to leave that man, she would be gone. It looks like she's found a convenient way to keep the kids paid for, not have to divorce the man, but also get what she needs. That's how I feel. But Ken has a history of dating people who are married. So it makes it to where it didn't make sense. It looked more like a childish outburst. That's what I'll say.
I just feel like I need Trish to watch them kids around him when they're alone. I need her to I'm not saying anything, but it's just weird. His energy is just strange. Like, I need her to put better eyes on this. And I've already told y'all about Trish. I feel like the reason why Trish hasn't fully let go of Marquez, because whatever Ken does not do, Marquez does very well. And she probably wants that. And the things that Marquez does not do, Ken does. I think she's conflicted. She's conflicted because probably what each one of them bring to the table that's different from the other is probably very strong willed in her spirit. And I could understand that situation to some degree. I just wouldn't be playing like this with people's emotions and with people's, future plans. That's all I'm saying. That's just me personally. That's how you feel about that.
I feel the same. I can't, I don't, the whole situation is messy. People just need to learn how to have some doggone respect for marriage as a whole. What you put out into the world when you are not married is sometimes the very thing that will come back to you when you are. So with Ken, I feel like karma will get him later. He's an idiot. Trish is a dingbat. It is what it is. I don't want these people to come back next season.
I don't either because they were a flop to me. I get they were the only drama that realistically carried on this entire time, but it was silly to bring them on. It really was. So the last thing we're going to talk about is this whole meetup with Martell and Marceau since Destiny's last event. He comes over there, and Martell was like pretty much saying that he apologized to Tisha for ambushing her at her lunch with Destiny. He thought Marceau was going to be there so he can have a conversation with them both about what's going on. He said he did not like how things transpired and everything, about all of the circumstances that Martell was putting out there about him, and all the situation with the 20 women. He have already apologized about that. He's already taken responsibility, so he doesn't know like the situation and the circumstances. Marcel took off the glasses and he said, "The problem with you is you don't know how bad your words can play a part in the demise or in the conflict of my marriage. When you say certain things and when you put things out there, my wife has to hear it and also has to look at me with the side." And I'm gonna tell you like this: when that picture came out about with the back, when Marceau was allegedly in Africa, and how he had her in the car crying, talking about "I can't confirm nor deny," and how he was playing with her emotions. I feel like, yeah, Martell could have passed on the information, but Marceau, you also didn't take the initiative to put this to bed or rest on camera either. So to me, if Tisha has any, information or details of a potential infidelity, you're not doing your job either by dispelling them as much as he's putting it out there. So I kind of felt like, to me, they're both full of shit. They're both full of shit. So Marceau, or not Marceau, Martell was kind of, just saying how ridiculous this is, how Tisha is stupid for sticking around by him, and how he playing in her face and everything. Now, I watched this episode 3 times. And yes, Tisha was laughing. Yes, Tisha was doing all this. And when she excused herself, the moment Marceau said, "Martell, I'm simply better than you." Now, when he said that, y'all, my mind went haywire. And this is where I need Mrs. Best, because what I took that to mean is I can cheat and get away with it because I'm clean. I don't have any babies anywhere. I don't have any women coming out of nowhere talking about they slept with me. I don't have women coming out of nowhere calling my wife's phone. I'm simply better than you. That's what I took that to be. And I'm going to say allegedly because that's a big pill to swallow, y'all. I get it. But when he said that, my mind went immediately to say that smirk and the way he said it. Now, he could be saying, "I'm a better husband. I'm a better man. I do my job better." But it was just the way he said it, y'all. I'm sorry. That to me looks like a confession right there. Mrs. Best, how did you feel?
Um, okay, for me, most of it felt animated and disingenuous. Honestly, it felt like Marcel was just trying to have a moment on the camera. He's been trolling a lot, but at the same time, I do I didn't take it as competitive in that way, but I felt like it was more so a dig at the fact that Martel's marriage is a mess. Either way, I believe that Martell is telling the truth about what Marceau is doing, and I believe Marceau is telling the truth about what Martell is doing. And the longer that they argue about this, the longer that they just expose both of themselves for being just dogs. Absolute dogs. Men that come with red flag warnings as they walk and do whatever it is that they do. So I don't know. Marceau is weird. He's not taking any accountability. You clearly did something that made this fool feel confident enough to continue to try and come for you and your wife publicly. Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's how I feel. But I'm getting tired of these two men arguing like women. They argue like they don't sleep together. They get on my nerves.
I said that when this argument first happened. I said, Martell, did you sleep with Marceau? Did that happen? Y'all know college is one of them weird things. I'm gonna say allegedly because I don't feel like dealing with them two fools. Allegedly, but college is one of them situations where I've seen it all. I have literally seen it all. There's people, and sometimes college is one of them experience on the right night. It's a warm night. The fan ain't quite working at the house, or the heater don't quite work. A little cuddling goes a long way. You start sharing covers and stuff. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I'm telling y'all, I didn't see the experimentation is real. It really is biology. This is why I study it. Biology is one of them situations where the study of life. I think psychology really like messed up our mindset to find mates and spouses and stuff like that because the biology, our bodies are naturally essential to each other by life study. So it wouldn't surprise me. It really would not surprise me if I found out that these two may have had just because I already told you how I feel about Martell. Tisha didn't have to tell me that. I already came sense it. Word on the Huntsville streets is that Trish does not plan to divorce in order to keep her military benefits. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, you can't do that. But he wasn't in the service either. So he wasn't in the service. So I don't think I'm gonna have to ask one of my friends in the service because he divorced his wife, and she still got the benefits. Both of them still got the benefits. So, do you think that maybe it's to prevent her from sharing it with him, the military benefits? Because she'll still get them, like even if she divorces him, but he would still get it because he's been married to her, I think, for 18 years. So he would still get entitlement to her benefits, and I think maybe that's what she's trying to avoid. I forgot about that because yeah, you still can get them, but they still get awarded to your spouse, especially the ones you had on the paperwork when you went into the service. So maybe that's what it is. That's a good point to bring up. The word on the Huntsville streets. But still, well, so that now poses the question for me, Ken. With this new news of this, is that going to be a problem? Mrs. Best, is that going to be a problem?
Ken ain't going nowhere. I think Ken benefits more from being with Trish than Trish benefits from Ken. When I really think about it, we have to remember there's things we've learned about her, such as her being an engineer. That means that she has the experience and the brain to find a job in several different realms, so she can be okay. I don't know. I just feel like he gets more out of being with her, especially with the show and whatnot.
I think so too. I do. I think so too. That makes more sense. But that was the episode, y'all. That was Love and Marriage Huntsville. Y'all, I'm ready for the reunion. I'm ready for the reunion. I'm ready to get this over with. I'm so happy Bell Collective is not on right now. I want Carlos to bring back Family Empire Houston. I miss the cast of that show. I mean, for Marcel to say he was better than Marcel only helps Marcel because he has a true, but at the same time, I feel like, and I know, Kev, I think you're watching the playback. I really do. So when you get to this point, to me, it was the smirk and the hand on the shoulder for me that led me to believe that's what he was talking about. Was the simple fact that he's better at it than Martell is. That's what that meant for me. I'm sorry. It was just the way he said it. And it was the smirk and it was the shoulder that it don't matter what Martell says or does. he's better at manipulating Tisha into staying. That's how I feel. So, yeah, I think, yeah. Yep. But that was it, you guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everyone join, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed to me, I always get this. There is 70% of y'all who watch the video for quite a bit of time and are not subscribed to me. So please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe, like the video, get the algorithm going. Tomorrow's videos will be Married to Medicine and also Real Housewives of Potomac. I do want to slip in that fight allegedly that happened between Kay and me if I can find it anywhere. I'm going to check my DMs later. But yes, thank you guys for being here. Mrs. Best, thank you for being here tonight. And I will see you guys later. Bye-bye now.